Hi, this is Michael and Rain from United Colors of Fashion with a very special guest that I'm so honored to interview. I would say guests at that. I'm here with Camille and Thuli. And at UCOF, United Colors of Fashion, we are an organization that embraces fashion, but largely also we embrace philanthropy. And the story you're about to hear is one that really captures my heart, and I feel the spirit of what we're about. How United Colors of Fashion gives aid to those living with HIV and AIDS in Soweto, South Africa. And we have someone who, I just heard her story and I'm really moved to actually share it with you. However, I feel that the best person to conduct this interview is going to be Camille, because she has embraced Thuli, and they go back, and I'm really in awe. And Thuli, Camille is actually going to ask you the question, because I feel that this is something that Camille has been working on for a long time, and it's very dear to her as well. So I would be more honored if Camille, you could do it.
If I could do the interview.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for putting me on the spot. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Camille and I want to thank you so much for having us. This is Thuli Dumakude, and Thuli is an iconic figure in the fight against apartheid in South Africa. She's a native South African from Durban, South Africa, and Thuli was the original Rafiki in The Lion King, and in addition to that, there's so much more from her. She has traveled the world and sang with Miriam Makeba and a host of other iconic legends. And Thuli was very instrumental in the fight against apartheid and freeing of Nelson Mandela. We met when I was a teenager. I was one of the premier dancers, and I actually danced. What was my dance, Mama?
Oh, the Sangoma.
Yes. I was the Sangoma. I was the witch doctor. I guess they saw that in me before I saw it. So I had the energy. So I had I had my skirt and I had the black pot.
Right. Oh yes.
And the funny thing was, everything was choreographed for us.
Yes.
Very traditional dancing. And then when it came to my part, they gave me this black pot, and the drums started, and they said dance.
Wow.
So I guess that was nothing to be taught. And then Thuli and I reconnected recently. Thuli, when the AIDS pandemic came, Thuli was with The Lion King, and they asked her if there was something that she can do. So she formed the Thembalethu Beaders. And my first question is, Mama, and I'm sorry, this is our Mama. Mama, who and what are the Thembalethu Beaders?
Okay, Thembalethu.
Do you want to hold it?
Sure. Okay. Thembalethu Beaders is a group of rural ladies. They live in a very small village. Actually, soon after I started working with them, I was trying to look at the map of South Africa to see if you can find this village. It is not on the map. And that is how small it is. It is so remote from everything else. It's amazing. But of course, when I was doing The Lion King, and this is how the whole thing really started, was I was invited, it was our fundraising drive for HIV and AIDS. So they wanted graffiti to say something to the audience, and I started chanting and singing and getting them to, not to walk out of the theater. And then I told them a little bit about HIV and AIDS in Africa, and they opened their wallets and they donated money. Then I thought to myself, wait a minute now, if we can add merchandise to this, if you don't donate while you walk out, maybe from the speech, maybe when you walk out you might see these beautiful beaded ornaments that you might like. So I took the idea to Disney, and Disney said, well, talk to Broadway Kids, which is the organization that actually does the work. I spoke with them, they liked the idea, they embraced it. The next thing, they gave me some money, flew back to South Africa, met with the ladies. And I'm not even going to the story of how the ladies got permission from their husbands to actually do the job. All I can say is it all started like that. And now, we had no name at the time. So I said, okay, what are you going to call yourselves? And they said, we are Thembalethu. I said, okay, Thembalethu is our hope in English. Why Thembalethu? And they said, well, we are placing our hope on our hands, on the beads, on the thread, the needle, and all the things that we do. And we are hoping that when people see what we do, they will support us one way or the other, and that is where we're basing our hope. I said, okay, so we have a name, and of course, now I'm going to register the name and all that stuff so that everything is legal. And that is how it actually started.
So what is the mission for Thembalethu?
Right from the beginning, even though at the time, and this is 1998, I was not really too much into HIV and AIDS. I just did not know, I didn't want to know anything about it. I did not want to be associated with it. But it really took that speech I made for the first time when I was on stage to say, I need to research and find out what is going on. And these ladies knew about it back then, but we were all in denial. We all didn't want to talk about it, we just did not want to deal with it. But Thembalethu and the work that they do, because when you do big work, you keep quiet because you're creating patterns. You cannot do that while you're talking. And I said to them, while you do that, I just want you to draw in your family to what you're doing. Draw in your child, your husband, anybody in your family, particularly someone who's not feeling well. If it's yourself, then put yourself in the work that you're doing. And as they were doing, some really, I could see they were depressed, they were concerned, and some were crying, and I used that as our way of communicating because I could tell that they just did not want to talk about it. And then from then on, we started to open up about the abuse. We started to open up about the neglect, open up about maybe the possibility of HIV/AIDS because the clinics are so far they don't even know, they cannot get a chance to go and test. Nobody comes to that village. I told you it is not in the map. So, and it was all those challenges that got me. I said, oh, what am I put myself into? Am I able? Can I handle this? And it really got to a point when I lost the first woman when she passed away. I said, I cannot deal with this. Maybe I just need to give them the beads, get away from it. I don't want to know anything, collect the stuff, and come back to New York. But the more, I don't know, it was like attraction to each other. We just could not separate ourselves from each other. And yeah, so we started to build the center because the kids needed to be in a safe place while the mothers are working. I mean, just one thing led to the next. And today when we look at each other, yeah, we're all aging together at the same time. But we love it. We love it. Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm really happy because when Thuli came to me, and I think we started a few months before this summer in July, and she came to me and she said, Camille, I'd like to know if there's any way that you can help me with the Beaders. And I had no plan, but I always say God sees when it's the right moment. So as we were eating and laughing and talking and reminiscing about our days when I used to dance, I said, you know what, I have this really great meeting tomorrow with some legendary models. Sandy Bass, who's also the casting director for UCOF, and for people that don't know, Sandy is the first African-American muse for Givenchy and Valentino. So I said, Sandy, I have a 2 o'clock. And I said, Thuli, I have a 2 o'clock, why don't you come at 2:30? No plan. And I just introduced her, and as I introduced her in this meeting, it's just everything just went into place, and everybody was just like, yes, yes, yes. So what we put together was a campaign called the Thembalethu campaign in collaboration with Miss Dionne Warwick and Sandy Bass. And then the legendary Mike Ruiz came in. I had honored him for an event that I do Inspired in New York. And I hit him and a Nigel Barker, and I said, listen, we're doing this. It's a women's advocacy campaign, fighting for, health education, health awareness, promotion, HIV and AIDS, and the economic independence of women. Because what Thembalethu is doing is empowering women so that Africa is not seen as a continent that is just with their hand out. This is women that want to fight for their rights, fight for their children, fight for generations, fight for people who are dying. So we did an iconic photo shoot, and Mama was not able to come, but we have another one coming up. We'll do another one with Nigel and another iconic photographer. So we did this shoot with Cecily Lopez and the legendary Pat Cleveland, because in my mind we needed a photo. So we have all these women draped with the beautiful artisanal photos. So my next question is, tell us about why we're fighting now, what happened to the community center, and the funds that we need. What do we need? What do we need?
Oh my gosh, yeah, we definitely need to rebuild the center, because it was a year and a half ago. I got a call at about midnight, and they said it is just pouring. It's the thunder, it's the wind, it's almost like a hurricane. And when they got up in the morning, the roof had been ripped off, the walls were cracked. I mean, not just the center and some houses in the neighborhood. So I took the trip the next day to just have a look. I did not think that it took the entire center, you know, from the little daycare for the children to where the ladies work. We had a little room where we would keep the kids when they were not feeling well, and maybe invite the nurse to come and have a look and things like that. So there was absolutely nothing left. I think I've cried so many times because of so many different reasons, from losing some of my ladies to AIDS, that I just walked in and I said, okay, God, I know you have a plan. I cannot answer this. All I can do is to continue to do what I'm doing, and at some point when I have the energy to rebuild, I will. And at the point, you were not in my vocabulary at that time. So I'm like, what do I do? Where do I start? You know. And the little money that we make really goes towards making sure that the women are paid and paid well, because I did not want the women to just keep laboring like, you know, slaves and working for nothing. Africa as a continent has a lot of talent. It's really just a question of unraveling, digging it up, and making it accessible all over the world. And with the beads, you know, when I talk to my ladies, they always say, do you think they really like what we are doing? And I said, have you ever seen anything returned? Like there's a box of stuff that they said we don't like. I said, well, you have no idea. I mean, when people touch it, and you know, the interesting thing is that they never went to school. So they can neither read or write.
Wow.
So when I was spelling UCOF, I said, okay, I know you just look at the writing. Because if I say you, they have no clue what I'm talking about, and they don't know which letter follows. Some had the UOCF when I went to collect, because they do samples, and then I look and I said, okay, number 1 can continue, number 2 you need to do a little bit more. So I'm going to number 3, and I said, okay, the C is this side, the O is that side, so you need to undo the whole thing and start all over again. And now I'm calling it CAU whatever, and they're like, what she's talking. I said, okay, go to number 1 and see how she did it, and sit right next to her, so that when she does her you do what she's doing. Yeah. Now, it's all those complex situations, and you do it, you don't want to really aggravate them, because they're so good at what they do. It's like, when you bring something new, it's like, oh, the challenge, what are we going to do about this? I don't really want to do it, but we need the money. You know, and sometimes I do push that. Yeah. If you don't make it, you know, kids are going to starve. So it is all those things. There is so much beauty, and I've come to actually appreciate it even more now in the beadwork that the ladies do. And just for me to, I always try to understand, how can you create a pattern that needs counting when you cannot count? Yeah. You know, I haven't come up with the answer for that one, but it's just what that is.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we are really happy, because we have formed alliances with a lot of great people, and Universal Colors of Fashion are one. And we are happy that with the support of Ciano and Veronica, we will be having an exhibit. I am the director of production for the show, so that's really great too. So we've formed such a family, such great friends, and like I said, we will have a exhibition downstairs on mannequins, standing mannequins. Yes. With a lot of the beadwork, and we're also going to have a piece that will be included in the silent auction. Like I said, our goals, our first immediate goals, are to rebuild a community center, and we're looking at $65,000 US, which is nothing. So if someone's out there, we really, it's the Thembalethu Beaders.org. and we will have it on the UCOF site. The women are creating a beautiful bracelet that has UCOF, the initial UCOF, that we will be selling at the event as well, and we'll be splitting the proceeds of that to help support both organizations. And we're just so excited to be here. Thank you for the support. And I'd like Mama to put Mama on the spot. One thing I'd like her, and again, this is Thuli Dumakude, and I would like Ms. Dumakude to just tell the audience what you would like of them, and if you can just sing something for half a second.
I knew that was coming.
It is coming. And if you can just sing a little line so that they can see the artistry of what this is that we're building, because it's not a charity, it's a movement, and we're changing the world. The second tier of this Beader campaign, the first tier was with Dionne Warwick and the Legendary Models. The second tier for 2013, right? Are the First Ladies of Africa coming to support the Beaders?
Oh, let me sing.
Donile, kwasekuqaleni mama, sabethi ndonile we mama yo, sabethi ndonile we mama yo, sabethi ndonile mama we mama yo, kwasekuqaleni bo. I'm just gonna end it right there.
Wow, bravo.
Oh, thank you.
That was beautiful. There's something symbolic about the whole, the beating and the unity and coming together. I feel it's very symbolic of UCOF as well. You know, the two different facets that's coming together with so much, excuse me, with so much passion and soul. And you said that the women put their hearts into it, and it's a lot of their struggles and what they're going through as they're, you know, assembling these ornamentry. It's
like
it's amazing.
Which is very similar. They are designing these pieces, like, like the garments.
Yeah, wow. Well, we're moved, and thank you so much for the time, Camille and Thuli.
Thank you for having us.
So this is Michael Narain for UCOF. Thank you.
Kwasekuqaleni mama, sabethi ndonile we mama yo, sabethi ndonile we mama yo, sabethi ndonile mama we mama yo, kwasekuqaleni bo. I'm just gonna end it right there.
Wow, bravo.